Hi, welcome to my messy fingers. I am making a new album. I've been eyeing a collection that I realize has been out for a while, but I just love the colors and I love the images, so I finally gave in and bought it. Now, what I'm playing with are two of the core and two of the background, and I also got I've done some pre-cutting here, the chipboard and frame pieces as well as the ephemera, and I'll be playing with those in here as well. I am using a cardstock that I got from Cardstock Warehouse. It's in their color plan section and it's called Harvest. Now it's 12 by 12, it's a 100-pound cover, and I did buy 25 sheets because I actually bought 50. I don't know how much it's going to take to make this album. They do not offer it in anything less than a 100-pound cover. So I'm going to be wrapping some pretty thick cardstock on this album. So we'll see how it goes as I get into it. Now the album itself is going to measure 10 by 10. I have a 2 5/8 spine by 10. My cardstock, where'd my ruler go? My cardstock, I have a piece that's in the center because I need to get away from the gussets I've built. This piece that's in the center is at 5 inches, and I've used a 5/8 tape to seam this together. So you end up overall with a length of, where's my pencil? Let's see, that's 12, and that is 24, 25 and an eighth. So 25 and an eighth by 12. Now I've pre-taped it. I have pre-taped my chipboard. What I'm using here is some chipboard I got from Graphic 45 quite a while ago, and it's really, in my preference, I consider it a lightweight chipboard. So I did take two of their sheets and I taped them together because this is going to be so big I needed that extra sturdiness. So my panels are 10 by 10 on two of them, and then 10 by 2 5/8 on the spine. Now I wrap my, I secure my chipboard pieces together with a product that's called Tyvek. Tyvek. It is resilient. It's tough to tear it. And I use it because you're going to have a lot of motion going on here. I don't want my cardstock rubbing up against this rough chipboard edge. So I use the Tyvek on the outside of my album so that my cardstock will glide over and allow some bend on the Tyvek rather than on the chipboard. Now, my Tyvek pieces, I cut them at roughly 2 inches. I came in 7/8 on each side, and I scored so that I could identify a 1/4 inch gusset on both sides, because that's what I prefer to work with. And as we go along getting this put together, I'll show you why. And then I tape it in. I've taped the back for securing it down, and I have also taped around the edges on the front. And then I will put in my page system. Now this was developed by Kathy Orta King. It is her, hidden hinge. I knew what I wanted to say. It's her hidden hinge system. I work with very large gussets. This is a 5/8 of an inch gusset. So I needed to create one that is going to allow for that. So if you want to make this, you're going to want to cut this piece 9 3/4. Even though this is 10, we're going to have some buildup as the pages insert over. I think she calls these peaks, and this is the valley. we're going to put pages that we're going to insert over this. So we're going to gain about 1/8 of an inch on each side. So cut it 9 3/4 in height, and you're going to want it 9 1/2 inches in its length. I need to change this. Now, I am going to, when I put this on here, I'm going to have a 2-inch flap that's going to help to secure this down. So you're going to start on your scoreboard scoring at 2 inches. Then you're going to score at 2 5/8. That's your big gusset. 3 1/8. 3 5/8. 4 1/4. That's our big gusset. 4 3/4. 5 1/4. 5 7/8. That's our next gusset. And then the last page peak is 6 3/8, and then you're going to score at 6 7/8, and then I want you to score at 1/2 inch so that you know where your 2-inch margins are. So when you get this all taped together, this score line here and this score line here is going to match up with the edges of your spine chipboard. And then this is going to come over and secure. Now, when I secure this, I am going to be pushing this down into the gusset. I want it down in here. There's tape on it, so it's going to help stay in there. But I don't want it flush and creating a bulky hinge. And it won't doing it this way. You might think it will, but it doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and start peeling and getting this put together. And I want to start with just removing the tape on the hinge. And I've given myself roughly 1 inch all the way around. And I'm very careful here to make sure that my spine sits in between. In the middle, I want these off the edge so that they're not a weak point when the hinge starts being worked. All right, so now you're going to have to bear with me. I've got to sneak in here and we're going to start taking the tape off. And you'll, when I get this done, I'll show you here in 2 shakes. Let's get all this off. I want that 1/4 inch gusset. For me, it works well. I don't have any issues with my hinges binding up. And I've done several albums. So now, if you don't give it a good tug and this collapses or folds, then you're going to have less of a gusset to work with, plus your page is going to be uneven. So give it a gentle tug and then just lay it down. And now we're going to do the same on this side. Again, a nice gentle tug. I want this to be separate. I don't want it collapsing in on itself. Excuse me while I burnish. I know it's noisy, but it's necessary to get the air pockets out of there. All right, now I have, if I can find it real quickly, I kind of impromptu'd here for just the moment, and I don't know where it is. Well, I'm going to use this. I have 2 tools I use to cut my corners, and I was going to show you both of them. This one is weighted. It is called a 2-in-1 miter tool, and I found it at colorwayarts.com, and it gives me an okay corner. And they're all going to be the same. If I use the other corner cutting, I seem to always mess up. This has got enough weight to it that it stays in place. so I don't have to worry about me sliding it around. My other one is a little square that's got measurements on it. I'm kind of curious what I did with it. Interesting. This is weighted. It stays in place. I don't have to worry about it. Just hold it down. This paper is nice and thick. I say that now. Wait till I start wrapping it. I look, they don't have 60. I like to wrap in 65-pound weight, but they don't have that weight in this color of cardstock. And I just did not want to compromise and order a color I was unfamiliar with. So, all right. Now I am going to I'm going to peel these back a little bit because as I fold this over, it's going to, I might be off camera, but I'm doing the same thing down here at the other end. So I will start to lift this stuff. And before I take the rest of the tape off, I'm going to pull this up and bend it over my album. Give it a good burnish. And now I will take this tape off. And now I will show you something that this heavy chipboard, it did split right here, which I'm disappointed in, but I can fix it. I take a little bit of art glitter glue and put it on there, wrap it over, and you don't even hardly notice that it's done that. That's one of the reasons why I like to wrap in 65-pound weight cardstock. But I'm aware of the challenges, and I look for the issue. I'm going to fold these back in, and then I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to take this one off. Give it another good burnish, and I'm going to fold it over. And then now that tape stuck even though I loosened it, so bear with me while I go on a fishing expedition here. All right, so get this mushed in there. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to do this first. And the way this is going down, I think I'm going to have some glue to do on the top part of this. Okay, let's start here in the center and move out. No, so far I'm not seeing any tears. Take off this last strip. strip. Get this down. See, it gives me a nice decent corner. It's nothing that I can complain about. Some of these corners are how I mush that corner in, so it's not the mitering tool's problem, it's mine. All right, now here's what I was referring to. If I just left this the way it is, then I'm gonna have some bunching up and I don't want that. So I'm gonna rub right up next to, and I'm using a round tool because it's less abrasive and it shouldn't be tearing the paper. But I'm gonna push this down into this gusset. I'm burnishing on both sides. And then I'm going to do the same down here. I push that down in there. Oops, I just tore it, but that's okay, I'm covering it up. I'm pushing too hard. Instead of just going with the flow and doing a nice even, I'm pushing too hard. I'm trying to overcompensate for the thickness of the paper, and I don't need to do that, as you can see. All right, so then when we fold this, those stayed in place, and look at the nice pointed corners that we have on both ends. That's what I like to see, not a big old bunch up. All right, now as I told you before, this is going to go right in here, and then the flaps are going to come over, and I am going to push this paper down into this gusset as well. And to get this to go on there, hopefully the right way, I want all of these going the same way, and I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to fold this over. Now this is where I'm going to place it in the album so that these edges here match up with these edges here. And I have a 1/4 inch that I'm going to play with because I cut it a 1/4 inch short. I'm only going to remove one, so I'm going to come up here about 1/8 of an inch on this end, and I'm only removing one strip of tape, so if I have to pull this and adjust it, I'm not pulling and adjusting a bunch of tape strips. Now see, I've got way too much here at the top and not enough down here at the bottom, so I'm going to pull that up before I push it, commit it. All right, there we go. That's where I want it to be. Now I'm going to hold this still, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to burnish. I don't remember which tape I pulled, so I'm just going to burnish all three. Now I will sneak in here, and I will remove this one, and then there should be I'll make sure I did that once. I put my hinge in and left a piece of tape in there. Okay. Now what I want to do is just remove this strip of tape for now, and then I'm going to start pushing this in. It probably wouldn't hurt to wet this just a little bit, I'm thinking. You know, it's my afterthought here. Oops. I really want to make sure that that's down up against that chipboard, and that it's down up against the chipboard on this side. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this tape. I don't want to ever tape this down and then push that into the gusset, because then you're going to get a lot of tear because you've committed all of it to be over to either your left or your right side. You didn't allow for what you needed to push down into that gusset. Right. And the tape on this helps to keep it down in there. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow basically this score line because it's right on the edge of that chipboard. Push it down in there, kind of come over a little bit. And I'm rubbing up against the other piece of chipboard. Oh, wow, I just dug in there big time. One nice thing about our glitter glue, it does dry clear. That is what not to do. Okay. So don't do as I did, okay? Just be gentle. I'm getting too forceful. Like I said, I'm trying to compensate for the heavy weight of the chipboard, and I don't really need to be doing that. All right, so when you pull it up and close it, you're not fighting the bulk that's in your hinge. It comes up nice and clean, both ends, and when you open it, you've got this nice seam, this nice gusset. So that's what I've done. Now I'm going to make my pages, but I'm going to make them and insert them on the next video. For now, I want to come in here. I need different scissors. I want to come in here and I want to snip these corners off. And this will allow for the pages to actually come over these quite easily. All right, so there you have it. I will insert the pages in the next video, but there is your wrapped album ready to go. So I will see you in the next video.